All right, good morning. We are back to continue our work on the Pokémon Red reinforcement learning project. We have, in our last session, put in ways to track the moves that Pokemon have learned. We did have to make some changes here, so I had to put in this. Yesterday, I put in like the read the memory value. The problem is that always returns it always will return a value. And so when we were doing that as part of the new way to track the moves that we learned, it was not successfully, or it was basically always giving us credit for them. So if you come here to the start of some of these runs, so like I just labeled this as a force cut error. So what was happening was we were always getting the rewards for having the HMs, and then we were always then forcing move in or forcing cut in right at the beginning of a round. So it would be here literally just for a step, and then all of a sudden our script then would take over and teach them cut right away, which then caused some confusion in the agents because now the values that it was expecting were suddenly much more, and it couldn't figure out why. So that meant it spent a lot of time back at the beginning of the game trying to figure out what exactly it did to trigger those. So that was more of an implementation error on our side. If you come here, force learn, it was this part right here where we were checking the memory value and trying to see if there was anything here. So if we didn't complete this event, it would come back as 0. So when we did the read M, which is the read the memory value, it would be 0 because we haven't completed any of the events here. And then that meant that it would trigger this step, and then it would go through, it would find Bulbasaur, and it would change Growl to Cut. So that was always happening at the beginning of our runs, and then because of the move reward here, Cut is number 15, and so that would then trigger that reward and basically throw the whole process off. And then if we come here, this is basically what we've had since I fixed it yesterday in the evening. You can see here it did actually make it through to Surge in a couple of instances, and that's what caused the jump here in the move value. And if you see now for the HMs, it's the much smaller value that we had in place from before. So they're getting very little. And then for today, we're going to implement this part, and I borrowed the script here from another user's code base. Basically, if you are next to certain locations on the map, it will automatically go through and do the cut. So you need 2 pieces here. I'll include this in my GitHub repo, so you don't have to go out and grab it automatically, or you just download that and it'll have it there automatically. So you want to go here, and this is what it does. Essentially, you're going to go next to certain tiles on the map. It's going to check to see if they are cuttable. Once you move next to it, then it automatically will go through the process to do cut. And you can see it ends up being quite a bit. So the first step is it goes into the start menu, then it goes down to where the Pokemon are, and then it will iterate over the list until it finds the Pokemon that has cut. It will then go into the menu for that one, and then it has to hit A bunch of times because you have to do a couple confirmations. You're confirming that you actually want to do the cut, and then it goes through and pops up a message that the bush has been cut, and then it lets the agent then go back to its normal moves after that. But that's the easiest way to implement this because somebody's already done this. We don't have to do a whole lot of work here. The only thing I need to do is I need to go through and pull in the tile set. And so I downloaded it and I put it here. So then at the top, instead of go from tile sets, import tile IDs. No, import tile sets. And now if we go back to kind of next, you can see these aren't throwing warnings anymore. Let's see, this says field moves. Field moves, huh? Got it. Okay. Well, we can pull this down as well. Grab this, go back to where our repo is, and that's going to be the same process. Now we no longer have any problems, so everything should work smoothly. Let's go through and double check. Okay, so that looks like that'll work. Once we implement it, our current run, oops, it was back at the beginning of a run, so then, yeah, we may not get too far. I guess it's about halfway through. But you can see, like, once it starts to get large changes in its score, it's going to go back and reevaluate. Maybe it missed something, or there's some other process that it could take along the way. And if you see here, very few have actually beaten Brock so far. And you can see those few that are already out there. But we will take those changes in, and then that should allow it that it can now explore towards the end of the run in Surge's gym. And then with the changes here, it'll have more time in Surge's gym area where it won't be receiving the penalty while it's there. So this will hopefully allow it to figure out the lock puzzles to get through there. I imagine it will take quite a bit of time for the agents to go through that and try and figure out what exactly to do. But this will then, this now should open up much more of the world in terms of the map here. So it won't get cut until it's here. It can cut now at Surge's gym entrance. If it happens to backtrack all the way to Cerulean, then it can go through the process there. It can now actually get out of Cerulean as well and go through the various tunnels. So that way it can actually make progress in the game. So the hope here, and we'll probably have to let this run for a day or two at this point, is to actually have it to get into and beat Surge, and then see how far we get in terms of process to getting to Erica. So that's the hope from what we could do, and then we'll see how well it's doing in terms of the overall step space. As the last runs here, you can see, well, that's probably a good example. But you can see, like, it's filling most of the space up pretty linearly. So we're starting to run out of space in terms of the length of the run. So right now we're doing about 200,000 steps. We probably will extend that to about 300,000 to give it more time, and then for next time we can check to see if they've got to surge in that time or if we need to give it more time to figure out the puzzle. Changing the amount of steps isn't too large of a process here. It's just this right here. We're saying give me, I would change this to 300, and then you need to change the episode length number here as well to 300, so that way it's doing it evenly throughout the process. This was our checkpoint that we used from yesterday's session, where we know that it had gotten through the SSN, and the hope is that that will then lead us back to going through Surge. So we're starting to see progress for these agents here, and they're into cerulean for a fair amount of them. They're still, well, maybe it's just, let me reload the map. Let's see. Yeah, there's still a fair amount back at the beginning of the game. Kind of surprised there. Yeah, and only a couple here at Mount Moon, but the hope here is that we can get through there. They can start going through Misty's gym. I do see a few in there already. So that way we can continue getting the progress. You can see Ivysaur kind of carries the party as well. And then let's just double check. And look, yeah, it's not forcing cut into the Pokemon yet, which is great because we don't want that to be the case until they get to the SSN and get the actual cut HM. So that's making good progress. So we just have a few pieces that we pulled from other people's code just because it simplifies the process massively for us. We don't need to recreate things from scratch. So that part is nice. And then, like I said, at this point now, we're just waiting for progress. So that way we can hopefully, like I said, by tomorrow, if not Friday, we've seen them that they're actually getting into Surge's gym and beating it, and then proceeding towards Erica. So we have a few things in mind for what we need to see and do. I don't think we need to force any other behaviors at the moment, just because eventually we would get to a point where we start to encounter, for example, doesn't have the Pokeflute to get the Snorlax out of the way here. So it should then go through here into the caves and then through all the way over to Erica here. So that is our hope for making in terms of progress. For tomorrow's stream, what we'll do is we will be working on the typing games site. So we'll go through, we will be using Claude here to help us generate the code for the changes that we need made. We had finished the first baseball game, and then we were working on the rescue game, which is almost entirely done. There's one small bug at the end where the letter can appear twice, and then if you do so, it's unable to actually be able to remove both of them at the same time, and then you end up with one stuck in the tree that you can't do anything with. That gets confusing for young learners. So we'll go through and we'll have that be removed, and then we can work into some of the other games here. So if you go to childrenstypinggames.com, it was the Animal Rescue, and then up next is the Space Explorer. So you can see here, just very basic, but see if it'll happen here. You'll get it where occasionally okay, so you see now there's two M's. If I push it, the other one does not disappear, and then I can no longer get it out there. It tells me try again whenever I hit the M. So small bugs like that are still what needs to be cleaned up, but we'll get there. So today was just a quick update. We want to just continue seeing progress here in terms of the map. you can see fairly regularly we are now getting into Vermilion and then getting through the SSN. See if anybody's aboard the ship for us. Not at the moment. And what I'll do is I'll try and get the other my other instance up, and we can watch the progress of a couple of the agents there as well. Actually, I had done this here. So I was trying to get it set up that we could display the agents. So I have it for the overlay for the other stream. We can use some of the time here to get that up. So I just went through Claude. I told it we have a party info available. Let's do this. It's not there. It should be in this one. Let's tell it what exactly is in there. Generates the info for party. It generates the party info. And then we'll say here we don't need the sprite mapping or the Pokemon. Just generate a box. Or I can tell it, actually, let's just tell it, help me to pull the sprite information from my current instances. We know how to get this. It's not too bad. The main piece here is this. So come back to the beginning. So we can come in here, we're going to create a new file. I'm going to drop this in. We're going to save this then. This is going to be generate stream overlay. And you're going to come in here. And let's see how it handles this, because we may have. We have a lot of boilerplate. So let's start here with the get current location part. So we want to say from generate stream overlay import. There's two methods here. Update agent overlay, and then prepare overlay. We haven't implemented those yet, so we'll get that a little bit later. Put in a process here where we want to prepare the overlay data. I think it works that way. So let's see if we have it here. And this is it. It config headless. We can just use the self-headless state. Okay. So when it's false, then we're going to actually go through and prepare the overlay data. And you can see it needs a bit of information here. So the party info is there. Oops, wrong one. Quick. Down here, waves. So now we need to generate these last couple pieces. So we need the current location and the batch status. So we're going to read the, we're going to read right, we're going to get into the game coordinates. And then is map, I'm assuming map JSON's pulled in. Let's double check. Yeah, map IDs. So right here. And it should be the name. Yes. So this will tell us where we are on the map. And then what was the other? It was the badges, I believe. Yeah. So there we go. And this should be badges here. Let's double check that. Go. Uh, 356. And then that should be exactly what we need in terms of the information here. So then come back to generate the overlay. We now have the location, we have the statuses, the step in the action count, that's fine. Do we actually have something called action count? I don't know that that matters. We don't. And honestly, we don't need that here. So just remove anything that references actions. That should be okay. That should be okay. So we've got that, and then we can come back here. So we've got the current location part. Read the current HP of the specified Pokemon. Okay, so don't have those. Okay, so let's go back here. It's expecting this in a new folder. So new folder, called overlay. Let's see here. Let's call this Pokemon RL overlay. File save as. Let's do this. Generating file. Now, should we save it as HTML? Yeah. Oops. Got it here. Let's do this. So this won't work completely yet. We do need to get their HP. So I think this is fine for now. We've got at least the base started for this. We've got party, it'll be the Pokemon party that the player has, the current location, which we've pulled out together, what badges they have, the steps that they're taking, or how many steps they've taken so far. Then it's pulling out their moves for each of them. And then it's writing to the overlay location. That makes sense to me. And then it's saying the health, we can get that for each Pokemon. We can update party info if we wanted to here. So from the party info. No, we're in the wrong file. So we could do current HP, current party max. And let's double check some of these values because it's been hit or miss on some of them. And we want to make sure we're getting the right information. Come back to here. So yeah, this is about we're being careful. So this is the current HP. It needs to unpack both because they're stored as numbers here. So it will, you need both of them for once it goes over 100 to get these values out. So you can see the first one here. It's very similar to how they store the amount of money that you have in the game. I'll call this 1, and we'll do the same thing for 2. And the same thing here. So this one would then become D. Go back to the memory map here. And this isn't the correct one, it's right here. D and E. Scroll down for Pokemon 2, 198 and 199. One B9. Right. To do that right? Okay. One BA. And then we'll go to the next one. We got C4, C5. E5 and E6. F0 and F1. Two one one and 222, 212. So we're getting there. This will be the last thing we'll cover for today. Two 3D, 2 3E. Last Pokemon value here. So now, okay, take this. Come here, we're going to say update this process to combine the health values into a string of the Pokemon's current health over the Pokemon's max health. Each health value has two numbers. The should be prepended, or I guess the should be pended on the should be pended onto the values for each Great. So then if I come here, why is there an if there? Oh, this is why we were getting duplicate values. We don't need that part. Okay. So anyway, we're going to change this all out. And this handled the formatting much better than I could. Take this. Shift everything in. So that goes through. It will update. Everything there. So we have now the updated values. Now this is the update agent overlay. Come here. So that. Okay. Now you can update the overlay and then change the color of the HP bar based on the current HP. Indicate red when the health is below 10%, yellow when below 40%, and then otherwise green. And so then we can take this in that is the file here. Save that. Okay, and that should be good to go. So when I get the other stream up and running, we should now have an overlay for each of the agents that will have their party info there. We don't have the sprites yet, but I can work on that in another session. But at least will give us our party information up on the side, so that way you're not just seeing the agents, you're seeing the Pokemon that they have and what they have available to them. So that's all for today. Tomorrow we should be covering the typing games website. We'll go through, like I said, finish up that animal rescue game, work through that bug, and then we'll move into, I believe it's Space Explorer, and then we'll continue that for each of the games that we had originally generated, and then we'll work on using Claude here to generate games that are a bit more complex. So that's all for today. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see all of you tomorrow.